He's ready, I hope. At last, then, we've reached the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Oh, the music. Music's amping up. Slap those cheeks. Clench that buttocks. It is time. Ooh, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the story-driven gamer, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are hopping back into the Great Ace Attorney 2, Resolve. In the last episode, we had what I assume is one final investigation. Though it wasn't really an investigation, it was a party. Lots of food there. Sholmes and Mikotoba have returned, from their trip. And Iris was there, and Suzuto, and we're all having a great time. But it was also our opportunity to ask Sholmes some final questions about what's going on. And so we got some more answers, like we needed any more information. But it was good. The main thing of note we got was that telegram. It had the names, it had 4 names on it, the same names that were that were shown to us at the end of the last game, that were on that government disc, that we didn't know what they meant at the time. And we concluded that, actually I can bring it up now, it'll be easier to explain if you see it. The way they're laid out is Aski and Shin, who we know is Judge Brett at the top, and then Gregson and Wilson at the bottom. So the assumption that we were following up to this point was that Gregson and Shin were the Reapers, and that Asagi... Well, not even Asagi. I don't think Asagi hasn't been a victim, but we know Wilson was a victim. But the way that they're laid out, it seems that Asagi and Shin are the Reapers of the Bailey, the perpetrators, and that their assassination targets were Gregson and Wilson, who are both dead now. So, I had my suspicions that Cosmo might be the Reaper, but now seems very likely, so I feel I'm going to have to prove that at the trial. The funny thing is, Strongheart, I kept suspecting Strongheart. He hasn't come up at all. So I don't know if I'm just misguided about that. I found it strange that they included him as, the judge here. That would be kind of cool. Having the judge who has, all the power in this case, being the guilty party. What would you even do? What could you do? He can just declare you guilty on the spot. And it's a closed trial, so it's not like the public would know about it. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get going. 4th of November, 9:30 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Taking the familiar sight. Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. I am retiring after this case. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. And the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. We've learned a lot since then. Word I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion, that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Counsels, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. Resolve, yes. That's the name of the game. Literally. That's my intention. Kazuma, I'm on to you. My lord, if I may inquire. The defendant may speak. On what grounds is Kazuma Oski permitted to continue in his role as prosecutor? That's right, he kind of went rogue last time. He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. That too. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution. I submitted a written petition to Lord Strongheart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. You did what? In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this one day. Kazuma, whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. I will point my finger at you, and I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper. Look who's calling the kettle black. Cosmo is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading into very dangerous territory. Is that really even Cosmo-sama standing before us? As an extreme exception to normal practices, I've granted this prosecutor's request. Oh, did you now? The defense finds this acceptable, I presume? Can I object? Yes, my lord. Alright then. In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. With that camera angle, he's so imposing. We resume the closed hearing of Barak von Zykes. Or Zeeks, whatever, I don't care. The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Oh, confident, are we? Very well then. This preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Asagi, begin! Yes, my lord. As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Judge Jigoku into the courtroom. He's ready, I hope. At last, then, we've reached the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Oh, the music's amping up. Slap those cheeks. Clench that buttocks. It is time. Come on, Ryunosuke, it's time for that steely resolve. Because this is going to test it to the limit. Look at me! Witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Ha! So it was you who issued this, was it? Your subpoena? I did what was necessary. Ah ha 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 ha! Well, look what the young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you take that tone with me, I must say. Too interesting, so what? One thing I'm definitely confused about then is, what was Jigoku's role in all this if he wasn't the target? Right? All that stuff with the bullet hole and everything that happened in his room, and he was the one hiding. So what was he doing? Did I read that? I don't know. My name is Judge Jigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am of course fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. I do my research. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. It was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty. Judge Jigoku, I must ask. What the hell, man? Well, I never fancied the young murdering student turning up here of all places. By the way, you're guilty. You acquitted me yourself, Your Honor. And now I'm a practicing defense lawyer, thank you very much. Yes. And full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see. You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France. Took flight? I'd have to object to that turn of phrase. It was a boat. Boats don't fly. Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances? Well, I was somewhat expecting this. And I'm sorry to say, I decline to comment. Can I go? What? Is he allowed to do that? Leaving the country prematurely when I was an invited guest may be questionable etiquette, but my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. He is a judge, so he knows the law very well, so this is going to be difficult.
Unrelated, you say?
We have to prove that relation. I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien... You an alien? Not literally. I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that. But your name is on this thing. Isn't it? Oh, it doesn't actually say... No, it doesn't say on here, but... Okay, it does say here. It was stolen... Right, it was stolen from Judge Jigoku's office. So you would run from all this? You coward? I beg your pardon? This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder. A case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now. A year ago in Japan? The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean? That's right. And you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. It's gotta be the telegram. Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you are resolved to carry this through to the very end, too. You betcha. Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Seishiro Jigoku is involved in this case? This, baby! And I better be right.
Take that!
This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communication... Sorry, I got tongue-tied there for a minute. The communication contained 4 names. Kei Asagi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. What now? You little... Where did you get that? Oh gosh. Where did you get that? He's gonna break the bench again, isn't he? I'm waiting for that to happen. In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku. And before you say anything, I didn't steal it. What? How on earth did you... Does that make it illegal evidence? We'll find out. What's this all about? Why is my name on that list? This list of 4 names follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. Kei Asagi and A. Shin are the names of assassins. No. A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital, and that was done by A. Shin. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Jesily Brett. But her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. To think she was an assassin from the very beginning. A. Shin and her victim J. Wilson. And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Asagi, whose victim was the British police inspector Tobias Gregson. Kei Asagi and T. Gregson. Can't be anyone else. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other. That's very clever. What exactly is the defense suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. And the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill. Kill la kill. What? That's right, Kazuma. Be afraid. Be afraid. Be very afraid. The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Ah. Judge Jigoku? What's this all about? Kazuma, surprised? And you, Kazuma, you lied. You sit on a throne of lies, sir. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you'd accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name of the killing contract. Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. Yes you did. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Judge Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you. Ah! Oh, crap. I guess. You deliberately avoided saying a name? Okay, pretty clever. The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for presence when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. I am so tall. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself? He's mad. His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse. Judge Jigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse will put you in contempt of court. Very well then. Ha 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 ha! There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then. As a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. Cool. Cool beans. That's all we want. It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night of the 31st of October. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord. Hey, usually people are saying that to me. Here we go, the first witness testimony. The assassin exchange. It's true that Cosmo Oski was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. Which is true. If there'd been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. There was a bullet hole in your room, but okay. So you admit it then? As this communication suggests, there really was an assassination exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan. A political endeavor at the highest levels. Not something I can discuss here. To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard. The lowest of the low. Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge. I would know. I am one. Look at that look. Scratching that beard. That little... Pardon? Oski had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know? What? Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Counsel? Is he gonna try to spin it so that like Gregson attacked him and he was defending himself or something? Kazuma-sama. Slam that desk. Judge Jigoku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain. No, I don't think I will. I'm not obliged to divulge that information. As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission. But on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case. The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can have perished aboard the steamship in Dunkirk. Okay. Because he'd been shot in the cabin. It's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Vadok von Zykes. Okay, I feel like the piece of evidence that we might need to work with is the clock. In fact, the clock updated, right? Inspector Gregson's pocket watch that we found without fail every single day. Oh, maybe it's this that got updated? Yeah, it's now clear that's the missing crown of Inspector Gregson's pocket watch. So I have a feeling we're gonna have to present this, because this was found on board the ship. This piece of the broken watch. To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such Machiavellian dealings. Clearly its plot only a government, minister, and high-ranking judge, such as the witness, could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. You think so? Be that as it may, it is not the place for this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, counsel? Okay, so what I'm thinking... Now, I'm wondering if there's a mastermind, just like they sent an assassination from both countries, maybe there's a mastermind in each country. If Jigoku ends up being the mastermind on the Japan side, it's not a big stretch to assume Strongheart here is probably, who's also like a high-ranking government official. He's acting as a judge now. That he would be the head on the British side of the group. Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. Okay. The assassin exchange. The other thing is if it's not the watch, we also have the piece of Kazuma's sword embedded in the trunk. I forget if we used that last time. Okay. It's true that Kazuma was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. Target was Gregson. Condition of the British study tour. In the end, something happened that meant the young man was able to carry out his mission. Evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. I want to examine this first, or press this first. If there'd been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it. Hold it! The crewman who was standing directly outside your cabin door, you mean? That's right. A muscular man with a permanent grim expression on his face. He didn't once move from that spot. Talking about chicken, right? Chicken stroganoff. To be honest, I thought he was a miserable fellow. But as it happens, he's a vital witness now. There's no doubt that Gregson was killed by a gunshot. And it's inconceivable that a crewman standing just outside the cabin door wouldn't have heard that. But wait, what about the ship's enormous steam engines? The noise of them could have drowned out the sound of the gun being fired. Sadly, young judicial assistant, that won't wash. Oh? You will recall that my cabin was in the first-class area of the ship, which is also, of course, the quietest. Don't imagine for a moment that it's anything like steerage where the judicial assistants go. I didn't mean... Slam. But a hole like that made by a bullet was found in your cabin, Judge Jigoku. That's compelling evidence that a gun was fired in there. What's that, a bullet hole? Oh yes, you were talking about the detective uncovered in the wall yesterday, I presume? That was obviously a rotten panel eaten out by Wordworm. Oh, I see how you're playing it. No doubt he didn't find an actual bullet. That is true. That's the hole in this argument. Sadly, I was unable to arrange for the crewman to be brought back to Britain with me. But, of course, what a coincidence. But obviously, if a gun had been fired in my cabin on the night in question, as the defense implies, I would have been arrested on the spot, and would never have made it to Britain in the first place. Very true. The witness's logic is sound. Since no gunshot was heard from the witness's cabin on the night in question, we must assume that the witness is telling the truth. Evil laugh. I'm glad you've seen sense, my lord. Let me check something real quick. We also have this thing. All crew members are required to assemble on the main deck. So, the guy who was standing guard would have had to go on to this. Would have had to go to this. And that's following the departure. Okay. Quiet to assemble on the main deck. So, and it would be 20 minutes, so they would have left their post for 20 minutes. I know Kazuma's already admitted to taking on this incredible assassination plot, but even so, hearing it confirmed by somebody else is still a real shock. It's unforgivable! I'm gonna do my Suzuto takedown on Kazuma as soon as we're done here. Using Kazuma-sama's feelings to manipulate him into agreeing to such a despicable plan. But I think Kazuma manipulated Judge Jigoku too. He completely double-crossed him. Oh dear. It's hard not to see that as a stroke of brilliance on Kazuma-sama's part. One way or another though, Gregson ended up dead. I really think that the murder must have happened aboard that steamship. So you mean... Judge Jigoku must be lying. He's a liar. And a deceiver. I know I shouldn't let my emotions cloud my judgment. But you must destroy him, Mr. Naruhodo. Wring his neck. Okay, calm down, Suzuto. I might need to just press him on some stuff, but... Let me just see something. If I go back to this... I mean, I don't want to take risks, because he's saying... He's saying the crewman would have heard it, but we can present it and be like, well, actually, no. Not... But we don't know that it was during the drill, do we? I don't know, I say we press him on some more stuff. Let's try this one. Outside your cabin in the first class area of the SS Grouse, you mean? Yes, that's right. Not least because there was a murder of a student passenger early in the year, I imagine? Well, kinda. The linear operators have taken to posting a crewman outside every first-class cabin door. I can confirm the presence of the crewman guard myself. What do you mean? Because I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk that night, I witnessed it with my own eyes. Hello! There was a well-built crewman standing guard directly in front of the door to the witness's cabin. Yes, we did see that happening. At that particular time, of course, I'd gone to the ship's dining room for dinner. I was hungry. The inspector and I asked the crewman to allow us into the cabin while we waited for Judge Jigoku's return. I suppose Inspector Gregson was there in this capacity as the Reaper. He was intending to take the witness's life. Exactly. As I've said numerous times now, I had no intention of killing anyone. So the crewman let two potential assassins into the cabin he was supposed to be guarding? Not the most convincing of sentries, really. In truth, those were my thoughts too. But anyway, I stayed to talk with Inspector Gregson for a short while, and then I left him there and made my way off the ship alone. Was the guard still at the door when you went? Yes. He glared at me as I walked past. You see, that proves it. Okay, let's press these first 3 points.
Hold it!
A year ago, when Cosmo was still in Japan then. Correct. It was at the examination center for applicants for the study tour that I approached him. I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked me forthright if I'd consider traveling to Britain on an assassination mission. Heh, so forward. Surely not. I thought it was a joke at first, of course, but then it was made clear to me that if I didn't accept, I wouldn't be considered for the study tour. Heh. So you agreed to it just for that? I mean, I know how much you want to study in England, but assassination? Yeah, that's a bit much. Bit extra. The Empire of Japan had accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time. An agreement to send a student from each country to the others to deepen cultural understanding and friendship. The power of friendship, baby. But behind the scenes, the chosen students were to be given assassination missions. I had no choice but to accept the proposal that originated from my British counterpart. Why? Why didn't you expose the plot there and then? Because I'm bad to the bone. That's gotta be Strongheart, right? Richard acknowledges no part in these alleged misbegotten dealings. I advise you not to make spurious allegations, Foreign Minister Jigoku, or I will send my assassins after... Never mind. As a witness, I am about to tell the truth, my lord. Anyway, I picked Asugi and explained the details of the plan to him. We are getting some details.
Hold it!
Why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as the assassin? He was the most capable of all the applicants, and in addition, he has a kick-ass sword. I knew his desire to travel to Britain was very strong. In fact, it was almost more than a desire. It was his whole purpose in life. Yes, as his best friend, I can certainly attest to that. That's a fact. The way he threw himself into his studies, the way he pursued becoming qualified as a lawyer, it was all ultimately for that one single goal of being accepted on a study tour to Britain. And of course, we know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, Genshin Asugi. That's right. I'm sure this is all going to connect back to that too. There's nothing I wouldn't have done to get here. Be that agreeing to assume the role of an assassin, or betraying people's trust. Well, you certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Asugi. Duly noted. But why was Inspector Gregson the target? I have no idea. Those were the orders from Britain. I was in no position to question them. You have no idea? Really? I find that hard to believe. Oh, do you? Well, nobody asked you. Judge Jigoku was once a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course. Perhaps he has some connection with Inspector Gregson from that time. The defense really ought to catch up. With what? With the fact that the assassin exchange has absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. Yes, I've already admitted to recruiting Asugi. Okay, one more thing. Something happened.
Hold it!
I presume you're referring to the incident that occurred during Kazuma's passage to Britain in January? He almost died. The awful tragedy that took place on the steamship. Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks after the ship's departure from our shores. The visiting student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong. The news was wired to me from a detective I placed on my ship to accompany the assassin. Hello, long time no see. Obviously, Kazuma didn't actually die at all. But he did lose his memory, including all details about his special mission. Did you not consider dispatching another assassin at that point? That wasn't possible. Simply because that black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as Asugi's replacement. And there was no way to stop him from reaching Britain. Imagine if he came to me and tried to get me to be an assassin. That would be awesome. That would be a completely different game. Assassin's Creed, Resolve. My hands were completely tied. So Mr. Sholmes' strategy worked perfectly. He predicted everything that would happen. Months later, my memory returned. But I never intended to go through with the assassination mission anyway. So you were playing me right from the outset, were you? Is that it? I'd sooner be guilty of that crime than of taking someone else's life. Okay, good. I was prepared to do whatever I had to in order to get myself here to Britain. This line of questioning has gone on long enough. All the court should be concerned about in the testimony given by this witness are details relating to his relationship with Inspector Gregson and the victim's murder. In that case, as I've already made perfectly clear, I had no connection to the man or his death. And you have some means of substantiating this plea? I feel like it has to do with the drill. Right? He would have stepped away during that time. Yes, the only thing that makes sense. Would I present that here? Or here? Because it says, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. So you can present it here and be like, no, he wasn't. If there had been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. I guess I'll pick one of these. I'm gonna pick this last one, and if it's not this, I'll try presenting it to this. Let's try it.
Objection.
Yes! I love being right. Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Jigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times. Oh, maybe I could, the way he worded that, maybe I could have presented it to either one. What? Come again. I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st. What? Where did you get that? In your garbage can. It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. He is a great detective, after all. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember. Herlock Sholmes again? He's gonna be the next assassination target. According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m., and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill. All crewmen were away from their posts for 20 minutes. And during that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. Damn it all. Damn that Herlock Sholmes. In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime. Ah! Fudge nuggets!
Objection.
A 20-minute window of opportunity? That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. Well done. But it amounts to nothing. Why? Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. Unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false, your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Very true. Well, counsel? Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Okay, this is going to be where the clock comes into play. Or the little crown piece. Because the defense has the evidence to prove it. You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in Judge Jigoku's cabin on the 31st of October? I have it right here, baby.
Take that.
Judge Jigoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday. What is that? The crown of a pocket watch? A pocket watch? And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part. It can't be! It can be. Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. I got you now. Now the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jigoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. Grr! In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. In the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku. That's right. What do you have to say to that? Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you? You young murderer, you?
Objection.
Okay, that was Kazuma. Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke. Thank you? And your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. but rather like this pocket watch. It's full of cracks. What? And I believe Judge Jigoku feels the same way. Yes, of course. I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year. Sorry? If I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have sent you to jail for life. I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast. Is that enough to get his license taken away? I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you'll notice the pitfall in which you've stumbled. Prior to your now testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge who was there, I presume? Yes, I do. You've hid it from us, but... Very well, then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened to your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st of October. Of course, as a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice. Let's hear it. The events in the cabin. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an open south throw? Though, whatever that is, he couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London. Yeah, that sounds totally believable. Okay, Strongheart's just as confused as I am. Ippon Soy? Sayoi? A common jujitsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. I don't care what you call it. It's no match against my Susanoo takedown. So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you? What? The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves the victim's murder took place there. Arg! I'm a pirate. I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Probably because you're working together. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord. But if this testimony holds, Judge Jigoku will be deemed to have had no involvement in the case. Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination. No, we're doing it. Yeah, slap those cheeks, Ryunosuke. This is serious. Sorry, my lord, the defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. You're an embarrassment to your mom. In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo. Let's do this. The events in the cabin. Okay. Okay, so he had a gun on him. What does the gun we have here say? The rotor weapon. Okay, yeah, we don't know who this belongs to, so we can't use that. Let's examine it. Let's press this.
Hold it!
The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked. Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jujitsu throw. Hi-ya! Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in that cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall. Ah ha ha ha. What are you talking about? Huh? That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? No murder took place in my cabin. Right. Why don't I believe you? Let's go back to this one. Even though the man had a gun, that was a very brave move, wasn't it? Ha ha ha! Do you not see me? I'm a beast. My Ippon Seo is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you. I would love to see that. But surely all that commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it? Huh? Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape. The outstanding guard does it again. How useless. Luckily, there are many situations I can't get out of using a quick Ippon Seiyu throw. What about this last one? He was clearly killed, having returned to Britain already because his body was found in London. But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive. Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling. What? If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have got back to Britain? When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing. Okay, wise ass. Well then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body. That would be my guess. How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in their arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think? Well, yes, that's true, but okay. We found... Did we not find the small component? Well, we don't even have the trunk though, but we found it in a trunk. I guess, I don't know if it would have been this one, but... All passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. Oh. All passenger luggage is inspected. Okay. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. That's killed that idea then. Oh, Ryunosuke is so full of puns this episode. But, perhaps not. Miss Yuzuro, please help me. We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them. Which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative. Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony. With your consent, of course, my lord. I have no objection. State your amended testimony now. Okay, he's choosing to do it of his own accord. There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain. I mean, there's this. But they said they inspect the luggage, and this is Gregson's trunk, right? This isn't the trunk we found on the ship. That was Jigoku's trunk. And we don't have that in our evidence yet. Or at all. Let's definitely press him on this. There's an idea. Think about it, stripling. All passengers and disembarked at the same time and passed through the same checks at the border. The symposium guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry. And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel. So you did? Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time? What? No. So, in agreement then? I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they developed some clever device these days to instantly move things from A to B. It's called a suitcase. Funny you should say that. Professor Harebrain's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, of course. The defense has become unusually quiet, I notice. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say. So that's his story. Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, we don't say Mr. Naruhodo must have been murdered there, do we? Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I break another one? And the fact is that Inspector Gregson's body was found in the little room on Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin, the body would have to have been moved somehow, obviously. Transporting a dead body over a country border, that would be impossible for the majority of people. So there must have been some special circumstances that made it possible for the culprit then. That could be a vital realization, I think, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, I've been doing well in the trial so far, so I feel like I don't know if I'm super confident in it. But we have the trunk, so maybe we have to present this there and say that he just stuffed him in a trunk and... Because if I remember, during the scene where Jigoku arrived... Oh, you can even see... Wait a minute. He's standing there with a trunk. Oh. The question is, should I present this trunk? I feel like it could be either one. Should I try it? The picture here shows he has a trunk with him.
Objection!
Yes! There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true. And what's that supposed to mean? Far from being impossible for you to do, the transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do. What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Nice, hinting at it from the start. I love it. Oh, I knew you were jealous. Ah, ha 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 ha. I'm such a friendly and a fun guy. Very cool. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku? It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. Damn it, I knew we shouldn't have taken that photo! As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you're not suggesting... I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, Gregson's corpse was right next to us. It's right there. The body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. Busted!